What's up guys, how are you guys doing today? Hope you're ready for a new Heroes of the Storm video. You can already hear the birds chirping on the Garden of Terror. Is that actually the name of the map? I think it is. I always forget. So the Garden Terror map is going to be where we have today's game, and it is Korea versus America. And for everybody that is familiar with StarCraft 2, they're going to have quite a blast here because we have a lot of former StarCraft 2 pro players on the Korean side. It's the team of Ace, former StarTale player, and also of course then the StarTale player coach if you so want. We have Noblesse on the team, we have SC on the team. It's actually a really nice team. I've been playing with the guys myself, and they are getting pretty good. They may lack a bit of experience yet, but they are definitely very good mechanically, and they had a game just recently where they played against one of the American teams, against Team dISSENt, and it was quite the blast. It was a best of 3 in total, but we're only picking one of the replays. So the game is very back and forth, and if you watched the last games on my channel, I hope that you enjoyed them as well. But this game has some very special moves in it, and we of course want to take a closer look at it. I hope that you're going to enjoy the match as much as I did, and we're going to jump right into the map to see how the Koreans match up against the US teams here. So in the game itself, we have of course once again a quick look at the players and also the team compositions before we start things off. As you can see, we have for Team dISSENt Jexia, the team manager, on the Tassadar for the support. Same is also true for March with the Tyrande. Not only the support role here with the healing, but the Owl is going to get very important. The Owl currently being used as the main DPS of Tyrande. A very good skill. Used to be that the Owl was just more of a more gimmicky move and you didn't use it too much, but right now the Owl is actually very strong. It's an ability that you can just increase the damage with several talents that you have later on. You can hit multiple enemies, you can just make the damage increase as well, and you can also go for a couple of other moves with the Owl, which are actually pretty sweet. Besides that, we have Furious D on the Zeratul, we have Oxygen with a Fall Stat, and Dunk Train Choo Choo on the Stitches. And that's a pretty dirty composition right there. We're gonna talk about that in just a second, but let's focus first of all on the Korean team that we have on the red side. It is Kong on Sonya, Crazy Moving on the Vala. We have Ruby aka Noblesse on Kerrigan, and we have Vanity Prime aka Ace on Brightwing. And Tyrael is being played by SC here. So for the rest of the game, I'm going to call the Kerrigan Noblesse, I'm going to call Brightwing Ace, if I remember during the game. That's the real names that they have here. The accounts that they use are apparently not their own. They call themselves Team No Limit, and they certainly have the mechanics to make a very good entrance into the Heroes of the Storm scene. They might lack a bit of the experience just yet, but those guys are definitely here to stay. So we're going to have a look at how exactly they're going to deal with the American team. Talking about the team compositions, already hinted a little bit at the dirty combo that we have here for Team dISSENt, and in case you're not really familiar with the team compositions just yet, what this team is currently designed to do is just utilize Zeratul, Fall Stat, and Stitches. What you can really do there is, first of all, Dunk Train is going to look for those hooks. I would be very surprised when later on 16 he's not going for the fish hook talent, which just makes it so that you can hook opponents from a much greater distance. You hook one enemy in, and what usually happens when you hook one guy in from a 5-man combo is that the rest of that team is just trying to rush in and save their ally. We've seen it countless times. I'm sure that you observed a few of the games that I already uploaded, or at least watched a few streams online, and that's usually what happens. Like, one of your teammates gets hooked and everybody is immediately trying to jump in to save his ass, because what happens after Stitches hooks you? Exactly. He gorges your ass down and runs away and tries to just pick you off so that it's going to be a 4 versus 5. What happens then is that suddenly Zeratul jumps in. Zeratul with a Void Prism, he just drops it on the heroes that are in hot pursuit, and that's like the perfect setup that you have there to not only kill the hero that Stitches has just gorged, but at the same time to set up the Fall Stat ultimate with every enhancement that you have and do a lot of damage to the rest of the heroes that survive on the opponent's team. So it's a pretty dirty combination that we have there. Tassadar, of course, can always chip in with also a Storm, and we have Tyrande that can go for a quick stun and maybe try to set up another hero kill there. So it's a very good combination if you get those things off. Stitches and the hook abilities of the Stitches player are absolutely crucial with it, but Zeratul with a Void Prism plays a massive role in there, and that's why you oftentimes see Zeratul in a combination with Stitches, just because it makes it just so much easier to really just pin the opponent's team down while you just take one of their heroes off. You oftentimes see that also with a Nova in composition, because Nova has a huge amount of burst damage, so that you get really that one kill, and it doesn't really matter who you hook in. Can be, for example, also an Arthas or a massive tank like Diablo, you will be able to burst him down. When we're looking on the composition that we see for the Korean team, we have a lot of stun potential here, not only Tyrell with the Judgment, where he rushes in with his heroic ability to stun one opponent and pick him off. What he's most likely going to try and do with that is pick off the fall stat, eliminate the DPS early on in the game. We have then also Kerrigan being played by Noblesse, aka Ruby here, who has a very, very nice stun setup and can also then use the Maelstrom as a heroic ability to just dish out the damage. Vala in the back is going to try and probably use the Strafe ability. We might see Rain of Vengeance here, but with the Strafe ability she could do a lot of damage while the rest of the opponent's team is stunned. And of course Kong with the setup thanks to the leap is also going to play a crucial role here. If he gets a good leap off with the stun, Kerrigan can jump in, get her own stun combination in, and at the same time Vala in the back can just go for the Strafe and dish out all the damage. Kerrigan with the Maelstrom as her heroic ability can then also do a lot of area of effect damage. The Brightwing being played by Ace in this game, aka Vanity Prime, is going to be there to just save everybody's ass, get his healing off, and of course one of the things that he can also do is just use his disabler here. Use his polymorph ability to just make sure that, for example, Stitches can't really do too much damage, that a Tyrande is taken out of the fight for just a few seconds, or if the Brightwing gets close enough to the falls, that the same thing is going to happen. So that's kind of the setup that we see for the two teams. We are here on Garden of Terror, so we're going to have a quick glance of how exactly that works out. The map has underwent some changes, in case you're not familiar with that. Earlier was that as soon as night drops and those terrors appear on the map, you could not go for creep camps anymore. That has been changed. Now all the mercenary camps are still up while it's night, while there are the terrors on the map. Very, very important to know. So we have a bit of a change there from the recent past. Team dISSENT to the left, they stream actually a lot, they play a lot, they scrim a lot, and Dunk Train's stream is usually up there, so if you want to watch them live, you can do that on Twitch and just hop into Dunk Train's stream. Say hi if you do. And we have now, with 4 players on the middle of the map, the falls that down here at the bottom, also of course the creeps have not appeared just yet. Kong and Ruby with a setup here in the middle. Pretty dirty setup here with a massive stun. That's basically a triple stun that we see later when the heroic ability comes into play. And also Dunk Train and March, and here they are moving in. Is Ruby going to jump on that? Doesn't really look like it. A bit of a bait here that we saw for just a second by Stitches. He of course doesn't know that Ruby is still there. All the way at the top we have Crazy moving going up against the Tacita, but down here that's where it really matters. There comes the Owl and scouts Kong and Ruby, and the Korean team moves back immediately. Not want to risk anything here. We have Ace on the Brightwing in the middle going up against Oxygen on the Falstad right now. And well, Falstad already just moving back there. Oops, there we go, being attacked by Noblesse in the middle of the map. Oh, on the other hand, we have the first small fight ensuring between the teams. Nice storm there. Here comes Kerrigan. Ruby with the setup for the stun, doesn't get the second one off on the other hand. A nice stun here by March on the Tyrande, and the Owl misses Ruby just by an instant. It was such a close call here. The Owl getting very, very strong later on. Early on, not really the biggest deal, but later on, it's of course a massive nuisance. And especially on maps like Blackheart's Bay and also Cursed Hollow, the Owl is great to just interrupt the opponent channeling one of those tributes or turning in coins, for example, on Blackheart's Bay. So something to really consider. It gives a lot of vision as well, and then later on you have several choices for the heroic ability where you can also grant the vision of the opponent's team. So Tyrande, a very, very nice support here. Not really a healer per se, but has the healing ability too. Nice stun set up against the Falstad here, and Oxygen goes down. The first blood for Team No Limit, the Korean team, with the first kill here. Noblesse on the Kerrigan jumping in there, but the hook by Dunk Train against Vanity, and the stun follower by March, but we have Ruby jumping in once again. Noblesse on the Kerrigan here, gets his setup done, and a second kill against Stitches. It's 2-0 early on in the game. Very well done here by the Korean players. In the middle of the map we have SC going up against Jaxia. The Tacita here, no problem surviving. But yeah, we had really nice stun so far already by March, but the problem really being that the Koreans are at this point communicating their attacks very well. The coordination is great, and they are looking for another target in the middle of the map where Jaxia is already aware of the rotation, trying to move back here. And all the way at the top, still the battle between Furious D on the Zeratul and Crazy moving on the Vala. Crazy Moving really loves Valor. In all the games that I've played with the Koreans and all the games that I observed for them, he always was trying to use the Valor here. The Terrors are being attacked and Kong is already scouted by Dunk Train. Furious D is jumping into it, is going straight for it, but he dies as Valor comes in from behind and Kong gets the damage off. Now it's suddenly time for March to fear for her life. We have already the Tirana going down here to the massive amount of damage that comes out of the green team. It's a 4-0 early on and really a bit of a slaughter, at least at the beginning of the game. Of course, Heroes of the Storm has a comeback mechanic where if you are behind several levels and you are able to take down one of your opponent's team's heroes, then you get extra experience. That makes it a bit easier for you to come back into a game. We have level 6 versus level 6 regardless, because Team dISSENt is doing a very good job putting heartbeats on the map and soaking up the experience on the lanes. We have an attempt to just move in against Crazy Moving, but once again Noblesse is there with a Carrigan. Kong jumps in and tries to get the damage off against the Stitches, and yep, Dunk Train dies here. March trying to move in to help him out. A shield from Tacita saving March for just a few more seconds. Can SC jump in once again? Vala maybe with a vault, and there it is. We have the kill against March as well. It's a 6-0 right now with a level 7 versus level 6 in favor of the Korean team, taking the mercenary camps now with the map control that they just established. Dawn of Terror is a huge map where you really have to be careful of how you line your heroes up. And you can really tell that even though we have all these additional kills for the Korean team, we still see Team dISSENt with a very decent amount of experience. Level 7 versus level 8 only, even though they're down 6 kills. That's just because they do such a great job of putting the heroes on the lanes, soaking up the experience. You really have to do that. But the Koreans, they are more like this roaming gang squad that we see on the map, always trying to just move in and do some damage. We have a Bribe being picked up and being used against the mercenary camps to the left. So another Augur push against the structures that we see for Team dISSENt here. And by now it's level 8 versus level 8. Of course, the Team No Limit is going to hit their level 10 a bit earlier. There's the 9 already. Furious D is trying to look for a kill on SC, but SC is moving back, and Ruby, the gang squad captain, is once again present. Vanity Prime, aka Ace, is jumping in with his Brightwing. And that's one of the things that Ace really does very well. His map awareness is great. He knows always when one of his teammates is in trouble and when there arises an opportunity. Once again, it's the Falster that being attacked. The combo of Noblesse not really going full off. Carrigan getting the Primal Grasp in, but not the last stun to take Falster down here. Nice scout here once again by March, utilizing the Tyrannus abilities to give vision of the opponent's team. But of course, a nice kill apparently here up at the top with Stitches and and Furious D. The Zeratul and Stitches combo taking down Vala. So we have at least one kill for Team dISSENt. The American team is struggling a bit with those rotations, but they're starting to get more and more the hang of it. We have a nice hook here against Noblesse, and Furious D is jumping in. Oh, he's trying to take down Carrigan, but the stuns are great. Furious D is jumping back with a blink, quick blink. We have the Owl moving in as well. Furious D is scouted once more. Dunk Train in trouble, and the Stitches dies once again. Couldn't really do anything about it. That opens up the big garden terror here in the middle of the map for the taking. We have the Koreans moving straight for it. The level 10 has been reached. And of course, we use that opportunity to take a quick look at the talents once again. So, talking about Tyrande, we have her with both the abilities for the Owl, as already mentioned before. On the first two talents, on 1 and 4, you usually go for the Owl abilities. You take the True Shot aura after that. And then it's basically just a discussion of whether you want to use the Starfall ability, which can just supply some damage and also slow to the team fights, or Shadowstalk. Shadowstalk is currently a great ability if you want to set up ganks. You can cloak your allied heroes, and you also reveal the enemy heroes. So it's a great tool if you want to have vision on the map, if you want to know where your opponent is, if you are not really, well, for example, if you're scared, you don't know where they are not on the map, you are just afraid of running into a trap, you can use the Shadowstalk. 50 seconds, not really a long cooldown. Then you can cloak your own heroes as well, your allies, and then set up a gank if you want to. Zeratul these days is being played a bit more like a caster. We have him here with the Gathering Power, for example, already used. The Void Prison, we didn't really see the combination just yet. The heroes just hit level 10, but despite what we've currently seen in this game, keep in mind that the big part is going to become this combination between the Void Prism, the Shock and Awe, and the Gorge. So for now, Team dISSENT has really lost a lot of heroes already, but they are still hitting level 10 at roughly the same time that the Korean team does. And now they have their heroic ability, so they can go for this combination. They want to go for the combo, and from now on they have the opportunity to do so. When we're looking at the Korean team, there are so far no real surprises. We have with Kong a very normal setup here on the Sonya, going for the slam build. That's just a massive amount of damage that comes out of the Barbarian. We have Leap for the stun. We have Strafe being picked up here by Vala. And I actually really like the build that Crazy Moving is using here. Personally, I'm playing Vala a lot, have the Masker skin for her unlocked as well. The Vampiric Assault is always one of the things where you're just not really sure if you really want to use it or not. Manticore is the other option that you have, gives you a lot more damage, but of course if you have the heal it gives you a bit more sustain. I personally really like the pickup on the battle momentum here. Most players don't really go for that right now. There are other abilities, other talents that are also very strong. I kind of like it as well. The ability cooldown by 0.5 seconds doesn't seem like much, but if you actually pair that talent up with Rancor, which increases your attack speed to up to 10%, it really comes into play, and it's very noticeable. And it causes you to have Strafe up in kind of every single fight. Sometimes when a fight goes for a very long time, you can also just use it afterwards to chase down a few heroes. So to have Strafe off cooldown nearly all the time, battle momentum on Vala is a pretty nice and gimmicky talent, but most of the time players pick up different ones. But I really like this build, have been using it a lot myself, and I really enjoy it. If you're a Vala player, definitely give it a shot. For Kerrigan, we see a very similar approach. As you can see, a lot of the Korean players using battle momentum here. The Tyrell has already used the talent, and we have it on the Kerrigan as well. It's something that is a bit less common. We have all of those for 0.5 seconds. Some of the heroes will use 1 second reduction on every single hit that they have. The Maelstrom here, as I pointed out earlier, is also not really a surprise. Kerrigan is going to try and use that in combination with her stuns. Has also picked up Envenom that she can use then later to just dish out a bit more damage. The Blink heal on Vanity Prime, aka Ace. I'm going to throw that in every now and then because I'm sure a few people will have forgotten that Vanity Prime is indeed Ace and he's just using another account. We have Judgment here on the Tyrell, also not really a surprise there. The Bribe, I pointed that out earlier on the Brightwing can be used then of course to bribe mercenary camps that are a little bit closer to the opponent. So just a quick idea of what the players are doing here, and they are kind of following that script that we've been talking about earlier with the combination here, especially on Team dISSENT, Zeratul, Falstad, Stitches. You rely on these three ultimates to really make that work, and I expect that we're going to see 4 Dunk Train, most likely Sprint, and then also the Fishhawk being used so that they can really get the combo off. In terms of statistics, we have Sonya being involved in every single kill, the same true for Kerrigan. We talked a bit about them being the gank squad on the team, and that's exactly what happened there. They were roaming the map and were trying to just dish out the damage. We had, on the other hand, with Team dISSENT, not really a lot of gank opportunities here. Stitches was trying to go for it. Dunk Train didn't really get any damage off or any pickoffs because he was just assaulted every single time by Sonya and Kerrigan here when he was trying to leave the lane. But they did a very nice job. I talked about this already several times, and sorry if you're getting a bit bored by that, but it's really just so important to note that in Heroes of the Storm, if you can put a heartbeat on the map, you can definitely suffer a few kills if your opponent is neglecting that, and that's what we've been seeing by the Korean team. So right now, very nice situation in the game, a lot more kills for the Korean team, but in regards to the experience, we are nearly on the same level. Once again, they are 5-manning it right now, the Koreans, and that means they're missing out on a bit of experience in the middle and also experience down there at the bottom, where Oxygen is starting to push down the wall, doing a great job with the pressure here, whereas all the way to the top, Furious D the only defense. The gank squad in the middle, this time with Kong and Crazy moving, and down at the bottom we have Falstad taking down another tower, but the entire team is currently rotating down to the bottom, the Korean team that is. Vanity Prime already there. Down here we have a nice hook by Dunk Train, look at that. Hooks and Gorgeous and Crazy Moving is down. Dunk Train finally getting a first glimpse of his composition off, but we have Noblesse with Ruby getting the plant here and trying to utilize that to push in the wall, going straight for it, but he's pretty much alone. That opens up the bottom lane for a bit of aggression that we see there. and as you could see just a second ago, False that has been picked off while we've been here in the middle of the map by by Sonya, and I think the Brightwing was involved in that kill as well. But in the middle of the map has been pushed pretty hard by the plant. We have the compositions here being used, the Storms once again by Jaxia on the Archon already, and Kong is now moving in, just trying to clear house by all the way at the top. SC is going for Furious D, not really getting too much done yet. Level 12 hitting earlier for the Koreans, no surprise there. Exactly what we've talked about earlier. We have a few mercenary camps being taken. 3 heroes going straight for that. And once again the experience in the mid lane and on the bottom going to Team dISSENT, who hits the level 12 just shortly after the Koreans. 8 kills against 2. Koreans still roaming the map and looking out for a kill every now and then that he could get here. We have in terms of positioning Ruby and Sonya already looking for another kill at the bottom. We have to the left the hard camp being taken, and Falset is trying to assist here, but Kong is already moving in. He could go for the leap, but where's Kerrigan? Too far off. There we go. Can go for the jump. We have Kerrigan with a stun and immediately the gorge by Dunk Train. The leap is in. Dunk Train is going down once again. Here comes the Primal Grasp, and March misses the stun. He gets killed in return as the rest of the team is going in. The Koreans with 2 additional kills, 10 versus 2 now, and also taking that lead in experience again. They're also grabbing the next camp here, which is a Siege Golem camp. The Knights, thankfully for Team dISSENT, were captured by them. Would have been absolutely devastating for them if they would not only have lost the the Siege Golems, but then also the Knights here. So at least they have this going for them, that small push. Falset has now to deal with a double Siege Golem, whereas the rest of the Korean team is converging down to the bottom to take out the rest of the Knights. So taking those off. There comes that Owl into play, and that Owl is starting to do some damage. Now that we have level 13 reached and the 13 talents coming into play, it's starting to become a lot more of a nuisance. That Owl is really going to hit home. And what we're going to see being picked, there is again, what we're going to see being picked by Tyrande here is Rewind to make sure that the cooldown is being reduced. You get a double stun off in the fights and a double Owl. And believe me, boys, that does some damage. Playing Tyrande a lot myself, and I might not be on the level of these players, but I can tell you, if you hit those combinations properly, you can really dish out a lot of DPS. There it comes again. March hitting a couple of really nice ults here, but the Koreans so far also doing a very good job at dodging those abilities when they see them coming in. We have Kong and especially Noblesse on Kerrigan here, using the account Ruby, doing a lot for the team. Not only getting all those camps in the middle, but always on the lookout for another pickoff. So at this point, Team dISSENT is starting to play this a little bit more hesitant. They realize there's a lot of pressure coming from the Koreans and that the team compositions didn't really work in their favor just yet. But they never really got a good hook with the Void Prism off just yet. They're relying on Dunk Train getting the hooks in, and he did that once against the Vala. But besides that, they couldn't really do too much yet. So we have 6 4s for both of them. In terms of structures killed, not really a lot happened yet. A bit of a push at the top is currently pinning Furious D down, and Dunk Train is helping him out too, but that means that we have now in the middle of the map Jaxia going up against Crazy Moving, and a triple squad for the Korean team for No Limit down at the bottom, trying to push that in, with March hitting another Owl here. We have also Oxygen. Here comes the Shadow Stalk being used to determine where exactly the entire team is positioned. March is just Hearthstoning it back to get a bit more mana. Health, not really a problem for her, but mana is draining fast when you are hitting those owls one after another. Kong with a setup in the middle. They're just waiting for an opportunity to jump the opponent again, and Dunk Train is here at the front. He sees it. Does he go for the hook? He could go for a hook. Might go for the hook. Kong is already moving in. Noblesse is in the back. Here comes the hook, not doing anything. The Koreans, are they trying to move in? No, they're not. A little bit hesitant here. Don't really want to go up against that. They don't know how many heroes there actually are. Down at the bottom, we have Ace on Vanity Prime's account with the Brightwing, always ready for a quick jump in. The very, very mobile Brightwing can of course assist in a fight like this all the time. 4 heroes moving in for the setup. Dunk Train caught out of position. Once again, the Primal Grasp, the stun follow-up is there. Dunk Train about to go down. Arcade form already used. Dunk Train biting the dust. Here's the Void Prism, just a little bit too late, only pinning down 2 heroes. Falstad also going down here. Crazy Moving is trying to take down March, and Tyrande dies as the jump with the leap stuns Jaxia. Tacita being wiped as well. 4 heroes down, and Tacita on the run. The Void Prison not really helping his team out. Just too much stun. The composition that we see there for the Korean team doing so much damage, and now of course with 4 heroes down, it's the Koreans that start to push in, using the opportunity, smelling blood in the water. They're going for the fort here. We have Ruby with those stuns. The only thing that he didn't really get off was that in the end, the impaling blades that we see here, those missed. They were just more determined. There's most being set up to make sure that the Stitches couldn't run away, but the rest of the stuns really hitting home. Not only on the Kerrigan here, but then also Sonya SC with the Judgment. Great job taking the bottom fort and going straight for the siege golems that we have here in the middle. Level 17 versus level 16 now, and a lot of pushing power here against the team. We have Team dISSENT really just trying to find an opportunity where they can turn things around, and they've been trying to do that with the siege golems. We saw Zeratul capturing the camp, and that forces Ace on the Brightwing now in to take those down, whereas the Garden Terror is once again being attacked here by Ruby, aka Noblesse, and the rest of his teammates. Down at the bottom, the hook this time against Kerrigan, and suddenly Dungtray with the opportunity for a kill, but we have Vanity Prime jumping and trying to save Noblesse. Kerrigan goes down, Falstad with a kill against Brightwing. Great setup here, and the stun by March. Oh my god, that was so good. Getting even the Owl off against Crazy, moving another stun, and oh, here comes Falstad. Oxygen with a great kill. We have the Void Prism set up against SC and Kong, and suddenly Team dISSENT doing a great coordination attempt, taking down already 3 heroes, trying to go for Kong. Here comes Oxygen on the Falstad. Can he take Sonya down? He's going for it. It's so close, and he gets it. Oxygen with a kill here on the Sonya. 4 heroes eliminated. Only SC is back. Do we see the hook? It is the hook, but it's a bit too late. But here comes March with the stun. She gets it off. March gets the stun out. The Tyrande successful, but SC is just jumping back in the last second. Very nice moves that we have here by Team dISSENT. Now 6 kills for them, 14 for Team No Limit. We have level 17 versus 17. An absolutely great match so far. The early game completely dominated by the Koreans. No Limit with great coordination, with great ganks against Team dISSENT. But now those hooks are starting to come in a little bit more reliably by Dungtrain. And of course, Furious D with the Void Prism showed us just in the last battle how effective that can be. They didn't really get the perfect wombo combo off here, but they really made those ultimates work. Falstad with a kill against the Brightwing with a shotgun, or the Gorge against the Kerrigan after the hook, and the Void Prison against SC, and then also Kong on the Sonya. Very good attempts that we saw by both teams here to really just force the issue. Level 18 for both of them now. 14 kills against 6. Not quite sure for 17. Okay, the timers on the golems are being announced here. We have siege golems taken, and as you can see, the hard camp just spawned, and that's an opportunity for Team No Limit to get another push going. Vanity down at the bottom is now going for the Knights, trying to just push those back, but he might have to jump up to the top. Oh, look at that, really well done. Once again, the stun against Kong, the hook and the Gorge, and that was the perfect Void Prison that we saw there. We were just a tiny bit late to the action, but we saw the most important part, the fish hook talent taken by Dungtrain, and you could really see that that hook really worked out. And that's exactly the combination that we've been talking about. A long distance hook, getting the Void Prism in, and did you see how beautiful that was by Zeratul here? He caught all 4 of the heroes, and he used one of those very, very close niches here that you can't just use against exactly that position. It was a very nice move that we saw by Team dISSENT, and they are starting to gain some momentum here. They are about to take down another fort, and with 1 hero down, with Sonya down for Team No Limit, it's very difficult for them to engage here. We have him trying to defend at least the tower, whereas Falstad is jumping to the top, trying to grab another fort together with Jaxia and Furious D. They're doing that. We have Shadowstalk being used to find out where exactly the Korean team is positioned, and ho-ho! Yep, it's a long-ass hook, but it's not long enough to take one of those heroes. This didn't work this time. Jaxia March once again with a preemptive stun here, making sure that the Koreans don't chase them down. And suddenly it's the level advantage for Team dISSENT. The American team is doing a great job here. Level 19 for them, level 18 for the Koreans, and Owl cross map once more, hitting quite a few heroes here. And yeah, this is of course now one of the scenarios where the Koreans are starting to wonder, okay, how do we approach this? The game went well at the beginning, but that Stitches with the fishhook talent is gonna give us a lot of trouble here. The problem for them really is that once they are taking a camp, Team dISSENT is there. They know that when a camp pops, they are going to be there, the Koreans that is, and then they're just moving in for the hook and trying to get that opportunity. Shadowstalk being used. They're aiming for another setup here. Can they get the hook off against the heroes over there? Dungtrain doesn't really have vision on that. We could see an Owl maybe to grant that vision. They are waiting for an opportunity. They're just setting up everything. They know where their opponents are. Dungtrain, does he get the hook off? There's the team. He might be able to sneak one in right now. Nah, doesn't really want to risk it. Here comes the Owl. A few of the heroes, but yeah, they just move back. They're trying to take the Garden Terror here to maybe use another plant later on, when we have the Korean team doing exactly the same. You can see when an opponent's team is starting to attack the big Garden Terror, so they saw that on the minimap and decided, instead of contesting it, to just move up and take the own Garden Terror here for them. And that's exactly what we're seeing them do right now, grabbing that. There's no reason for Team dISSENT to try and converge to meet them up there. They take their own Garden Terror, leave the one at the top for the Korean team, for Team No Limit. So far, both teams are just a bit, yeah, it's just like both of them not really fighting just yet. They are all both on 19. They're waiting for their 20s. On the 20 then we're gonna see those ultimates even being enhanced, and of course also mobility being used. Would be surprised, for example, not see Vala with a blink ability. Gives a bit of more escape mechanisms for the big fight. 20 already hit by Team dISSENT, and that's one of those opportunities when you can force a team fight, or at least try and push in. The Koreans will not want to fight on this. We have the Siege Golem push moving in here. Where's the Stitches? There he is. Could go for another hook setup. He might try and aim for that, and that's something that Team No Limit is very well aware of. They're look how they position themselves on the other side of the creeps. But here comes the hook against Noblesse once again, and he's running away. Here comes the Void Prism, and that is a dead Kerrigan if I've ever seen one. Very well done here by the team again, making it a 4 versus 5 early on in the game. This combination of ultimates just works so well, and suddenly it's a 4 versus 5, meaning that the Koreans don't want to engage this, especially since they didn't even hit their 20s yet. So we have Team dISSENT moving in, Dung Train leading the charge, Stitches with a shield as well is a very scary thing to see. He can just hook you all day long and you can barrel down on him, but you won't kill him easily. The plant being used defensively, I like it a lot. Makes it very difficult for Team dISSENT to get that fort. So good move here by Kong to save that. Trying actually to chase them down at least for a few minutes. Here we still have like roughly 30 seconds on the Kerrigan before she's back to business. But you can really see how it's getting more and more difficult for the Koreans to set up their combination here, because they are always the ones who have to react. It's the Stitches that really pulls them out of position and plays a very positional game, and that's exactly happening here once again. The stun against Ace, NSC, Brightwing down already, and here comes the Archon form, crazy moving, going straight for the ultimate, going for the strafe, taking down Stitches, getting stunned by March. Very well down here at the bottom. SC is being attacked as well. Zeratul is already down. SC is just trying to somehow escape another storm hitting home. He's able to get away, but we have Oxygen being hunted hard by Crazy Moving and the plant by Kong. Oh, the stun against Kong, and there it is. Can he go for leap? Vala down by the shock, and oh, here comes a missed leap, but at least he hits the Ancient Spear. And doesn't matter, as Falster just goes for the barrel movement over the edge and then saves himself. Very nice action that we see here. Both teams still down 2 heroes. We have Kong now moving back, and Falster at the top here being one of the survivors. March as well with great stuns. Very well done here with the Tyrande. I like the moves that we see. We have also now more night camps being taken in the middle of the map, but it's level 20 versus level 21, and we're going to take another quick look at the talents here. So in regards to the talents, we now have Resurgence of the Storm for Jaxia. We have it also taken for Sonya, no surprise here, and down here for the Tyrell. So Resurgence of the Storms just makes you revive a lot faster after you die. Very important talent to have. We have also Hunter's Prey now, the enhancement for the ultimate ability. Gives you a bit more movement speed and also attack damage, and that's actually a great thing to use, because you can now just use it in the middle of a fight and it will give you some really nice opportunities to get an advantage over your opponent. The Blink, Bowl of the Storm being used for the Zeratul, a lot of mobility for this buddy right now. He can just really blink all over the fight and do his damage. For the Falstad, we have the Fury of the Storm, so that the basic attacks bounce twice. Gives you a bit more damage potential. Stitches with the Blink, with Sprint, and also the Fishing Hook. That's a very scary Stitches right there. You always want to make sure that you don't get hooked, and so far Stitches got I think 3 or 4 very good hooks in that led to kills right away. For Vala, I'm a little bit surprised to actually see the Vengeance ability being used here. It's of course great to have that extra DPS for the strafe, but then again, if you are being picked off by your opponent's team and they try to focus on you, usually we see the Blink ability here. It's just a matter of preference in the end. With Blink you stay
alive for a bit longer, but as it happens, Crazy Moving decides to go for the enhanced damage. So we also have Blood for Blood taken. That's great to stay alive, especially when you're up against a big or a high HP hero like Stitches, for example. Can do a lot of damage with that. For the Kerrigan, we have not only Sprint taken, but we also see the Omega Storm here. We have Brightwing with the Storm Shield, and that's kind of it for now. So with the abilities that we have there, makes a lot of sense. A few surprises here maybe, especially when we're looking at the Vala, but overall very solid choices here for the teams. If you look at the stats, one of the things that I definitely want to point out here is that we have Tyrande with 35,000 damage. So that's exactly what we've been talking about earlier. Falstad is currently only at 33, shows also a bit that he wasn't really able to get all of his abilities in. Usually in a fight what you really would like to do is use the shock and awe to do the massive damage against the opponent's team, aka like hitting all of them. We didn't really see that setup just yet, where Zeratul Void Prisms like 4 heroes and Falstad gets the ultimate and then later. Most of the time Oxygen has been using the ultimate now to just kill a single hero that was trying to escape, which is also absolutely worth it in those situations. But in terms of raw DPS, Tyrande with the Owl ability doing a lot of damage here. So in case you were thinking to yourself like, Khaldor, what the hell are you talking about? The Owl really high DPS, and you haven't played Tyrande yourself or played against Tyrande that uses this composition, now you can see it black on white or white on blue that we have main DPS here for Team dISSENt with March on the Vala. So besides that, looking down to the Korean team, we have in terms of DPS, sorry, on the Tyrande of course, we have the Vala with 29,000 damage, and that is also a bit crazy because so far Crazy Moving doesn't really get the damage off that he really wants. If you're being out DPS by Tyrande, you know something went wrong in the game. 4 deaths on him, not really too much. Vala is very squishy, but he doesn't really get those ultimates off very well, at least not so far. For Sonya, we have a solid 20, nothing to complain about here, really well played so far by Kong with great leaps. He missed one just in the last fight, but well, I guess shit happens. For Kerrigan, could be a bit more damage, 14,000 rather on the low side for her, but good stunts so far. The Brightwing with a 45,000 heal, that's of course what the job of Ace, aka Vanity Prime here is. But yeah, you can see that we are still in a situation where we have 16 kills for the Korean team and 10 kills for Team dISSENt. But a pretty nice game so far, very back and forth, and a lot of momentum dynamic going for both teams here at times. Right now we have a few pushes going strong for the Korean team, for Team No Limit. We have still 2 heroes down, the Stitches, for example, on the blue team, but only for a few more seconds. That's not going to matter too much, but still very close. It's very difficult to call this one. We have the Koreans down to 2 forts. There's still 5 forts for the American team, for Team dISSENt. That also means if you get a bit of momentum going and win a team fight and push those forts, you gather up a lot of experience. So this is one thing that we have to keep in mind and have to have an eye on. We have the Koreans now trying to just 5-man up again, whereas Team dISSENt is splitting themselves a bit thinner, trying to not only push the top against the Knight push, but also gain the experience in the middle. Zeratul is just trying to have a quick look where exactly the opponent is positioned, maybe get another mercenary camp here. But the Koreans are aiming for another attack. They are looking for it. Tyrande always with those owls, and they are getting the owls off really nicely. I really like that. So doing a great job with the scouting here, and of course we see the Shadow Stalk being used time after time again. Down at the bottom, another great push with the Knights, and at the same time they're using the plant now to move towards the top, and that puts Team No Limit in a very awkward position. They need to defend the bottom of the map, but they also need to go up and attack and defend the top, and it's not going to be possible for them to do both. So we have them converge to the bottom first. We have Vala and Kong trying to just stall for a little bit, but the wall is breached. We have the turrets already taken out, and now it's only the fort that's remaining, but the rest of the team is already moving top. A couple of Knights still at the bottom that can push in. Now where's the opportunity? Here comes the Judgment against Falstad. Kerrigan is jumping in too. Primal Grasp is there. The stun goes home, and Falstad is taken out. But we have Falstad already dying, the rest of the team being attacked. Look at that Void Prism! Gets a perfect Void Prism off. And here comes the stun by March again. Still Dunk Train in the plant. He needs to be careful. Let's see if he can escape this. The Stitches will have a problem once he pops out of the plant. And there it is. Trying to sprint away. Yes, that comes the blink and the sprint. And no problem for him to escape. After all, Kong is a bit too late. And March even throws in the Shadow Stalk for good measure. He really likes Dunk Train apparently, like also using the ultimate. But you can really see what one of the problems of Falstad has been in this game. We talked about his low DPS, which one of the reasons was that he didn't really get the ultimate off against the entire team. And that's also because SC is jumping his ass the entire match. Like, he's judgmenting him and taking him down, and that was very well done. So Falstad didn't even get an opportunity to use his ultimate here. So we have the next Garden Terror has been taken, but another hook, and oh, there it comes. We have the sprint being used after the Gorge. Vanity Prime jumping in, saving Grazing Moving's ass. The stun by March is once again there. Here comes the jump by Sonya, though. Jexia is down. The Tacita is ancient history, and Stitch is dying as well. That was turned around quickly by the Koreans, and it shows again how fast Vanity Prime, aka Ace, is on those blinks towards his opponent. He just poofs in and makes sure that Crazy Movement survives for now. Very well done by Ace, a great job here, and Sonya comes in and they just turn things. Great dodge, by the way, on the Owl, and I have to give it to the Koreans in general. Like, they've been doing a great job dodging those Owls and a lot of the abilities. March with the Tyrande, those stuns that really helped, but to be honest, he's cheating a little bit. He used the talent that increases the radius of the stun. Not of cheating, of course, I'm just joking, but like a lot of players will not even pick up that talent but will go for the remind here instead. But it's a great one to get, and it really paid off in this game. It was a great choice for this match, as you could already see. The amount of stun that came out of the Tyrande is absolutely incredible and helps Team dISSENT in every single fight. Situation in the game is now 2 heroes down for the Americans. We have them with 11 kills against 20, just trying to force the issue with mercenaries, whereas at the top they have to give up a fort. They can't defend that. We have the entire Korean team now up, and the Brightwing could always just jump in. The fort goes down, and it's level 23 versus level 22. The Americans still in a slight lead. Team dISSENT is doing a great job gathering up the experience throughout the entire game. I've been talking about this. We have, though, on the other hand, now suddenly Crazy Moving his team, getting a few bit. Here goes off. Oh, the hook! The hook, and again, the Void Prism. This combo is just something that the Koreans must really be pissed about. The Vala is down, the main DPS for the team. And boys, if you have a 5-man team going and you haven't seen Zeratul in a composition with Stitches, you might want to think about trying that out, because it is dirty. Another hook attempt against Kong, and yeah, he gets a stun off, but that's about it. So Dunk Train is probably just sitting in front of his stream his entire time singing, "I'm a dirty girl in a dirty world." He definitely should, because that composition is, yeah, that's definitely the adult version that we have there. So we have once again the plant being used by Ruby for a more defensive move. I really like that, by the way. The plant sometimes doesn't really give you the pushing power that you would like it to have, but in terms of defending your base, it's great. You're down a hero, you get the plant, you have the abilities here, so it's a pretty awesome thing. Zeratul already trying to line up another Void Prism here, announcing that he's 50 seconds down from his ultimate. Very annoying for the Koreans, and they know that too. I can already tell you one thing: in the rest of the best of 3, Zeratul was either picked or banned by the Koreans. They made sure that that Void Prism composition was not being used against them again. I'm not quite sure if they saw that before, but they definitely struggled dealing with it in this particular game. 23 versus 23. That's currently the levels that we see for the teams. 12 kills against 20. And we see the plant now starting to move in. Another dodge here by SC on the Owl, doing a great job with that. And looks like Team dISSENT is for now just happy to defend here. They are, of course, aware that there is the plant that can disable their structures, but the usage here of Noblesse was not really the best. We've seen definitely better placements like this. Doesn't really do anything for them, but as a tank, the plant is great. Moves in again, and here comes the hook. Going for the Dunk Train, the blink in, and bye-bye Crazy Moving. The Vala once again down, and I have to give it to Dunk Train. Those hooks are absolutely amazing. I mean, the last few hooks that we've seen always caught the main DPS of the Korean team, and that's exactly what you need to eliminate if you want to force one of those team fights. We have Auction with the body block here. Ruby using the sprint, the Carrigan jumping in again with a Maelstrom. Here comes the Void Prism, but only catching one hero this time. SC judgmenting Oxygen, trying to move back. Tyrande is already down. Here comes another jump in. Zeratul already dead and dying. 2 heroes down for the Korean, for the Korean team and for the American team, as Carrigan bites the dust. Vanity Prime being suit here as well. Dungtrain is going for him, but Jaxia in trouble. Jaxia goes down. Here comes the shock and awe by Oxygen, not hitting anything on the other hand, but Brightwing is being smashed into the ground by the plant, while now Oxygen, the Faucet, is just moving away as C and Kong are finishing him off. So 3 heroes down for Team dISSENT. We have still the Stitchers in the plant going strong for the keep here, trying to use that fort, but we have Kong and SC just darting in again after they use the Hearthstone to teleport back to base, and well, that's starting to get a bit nasty. Dungtrain is trying to just force the core here, and he's doing an amazing amount of damage, but he needs to be careful that he gets away. He has Blink and Sprint. He should be fine, but let's see if that stun hits home, and it doesn't. The Blink and the Sprint saving Dungtrain for now. No damage done to the core of Team dISSENT, but this is the time when especially the Koreans have to be super careful about what's going on here. Not only do the death timers now increase exponentially, but also we have them with a very low core, and that means that a single move with like a backdoor attack could finish them off in this game. And this is a game where they were leading the match with 7 kills early on. Now they're just trying to capture the camps. We have a lot of camps up on the map, as the last few minutes just consisted of pure fighting between the two teams. Level 24 versus 24. This time a double hit on the Owl here by March. Great job with that. And of course Team dISSENT is also going for the mercenary camps. If they just sneak one camp in that gets to the core, they can maybe finish this game off already, and that's what they're aiming for here. Double camp for the Korean team. Team No Limit trying to pull it off. We have SC now moving back, trying to just have a quick meet and greet together with his fans here, aka the creeps that are trying to push in. But what are the Koreans doing now? They are very offensive at this point. If they can force a team fight, that would be great for them if they can finish them off, because let's face it, the next team fight is gonna be a win or loss in this particular game. If you take the next team fight, you're most likely gonna win it. They have to defend against the mercenary camps though, and as long as Team dISSENT knows where their opponents are positioned, they can always try and use the Stitches for another hook approach and make it an early 4 versus 5, which is exactly what they've been looking for the entire game. Their composition is working much better right now, and already here the scout Dungtrain moving in. Does he get the hook off? He's looking for it, and not just yet. Just waiting, having the patience here to wait. Koreans with the setup again. Dungtrain, is he going for it? Does he throw it? He will in a second, I guess. He sees everything here, and Zeratul is ready for the Void Prism, but the Koreans not falling for the trap this time. Dungtrain a bit too hesitant here. Another Owl going off to the top, where another push is making sure that the Koreans have to engage, have to take it down, and I think they're just going to rush for the core. They're rushing for the core, they're waiting it out, they're waiting until the Koreans are not there. Here comes the Void Prism, great Void Prism, the backdoor attempt, so much damage already done. Vanity is trying to... yeah, it's not going to happen. Falls that down, Zeratul blinked back, and the backdoor attempt successful as Team dISSENT wins the game. Having a lot of patience here in the last fight. You could really see them thinking about a hook, thinking about maybe going for the hook there, but then they saw the entire team move to the top where the siege golems were pushing in, and they said like, okay, listen up guys, once they are at the top, we just go down to the bottom, we rush in, we take the core, you drop the Void Prism there. Once they move back, they're gonna run into that, and we are just gonna finish the core off. Great game here by Team dISSENT. The Koreans also with an amazing performance. I'm only picking one of the replays of the best of 3, and just to tell you about how the rest of the series went, to be fair. The next 2 games were won by the Koreans. It was very close games as well. Not as exciting as this one though, and didn't really show off as beautiful combinations as we saw in this game. So I decided to cast this one. So yeah, that definitely in all fairness, we have to say the Koreans lost the first game, but they won the next 2. If you look at the, we had a look at the talents already, but here in the end, again, 60,000 damage done on the Tyrande. We have Falstad with a respectable 40,000, Stitches with 42. A lot of DPS here done. Not a lot of healing power. Tyrande only with 12,000 healing against the 82,000 that we saw from Brightwing. So he kind of negated the entire damage that Tyrande was doing combined with Zeratul. But it was of course a bit more about that, like a bit more about the combinations in the game itself. 26 total kills for the Korean team, only 15 for Team dISSENT, but with the compositions that they got off here, the combos with the Void Prism, with the stun, and also the hook from Dungtrain, it was just way too much for the Koreans in the end there to handle. The more important kills taken by Team dISSENT, and they used that very well, especially the last attack against the core, of course, that won them the game. So, great game. I personally really enjoyed it. A bit of dirty moves there by Team dISSENT, but very enjoyable compositions, and I guess that the Koreans definitely learned something from that approach. As I mentioned in the rest of the games, they made sure that the composition or the combo between Stitches and Zeratul couldn't be used any longer, so that's something that they definitely took from this series. The Koreans rapidly improving. You could see a lot of times that their mechanics were actually pretty good and they stuck together. Their shot calling must be pretty good on their team. On the other hand, I have to give it to Team dISSENT with Dungtrain being the shot caller. They played it very calm and collected after they were pressured so much in the early stages of the game, really bringing it back around and starting that comeback. So great game. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to see more content in the future, and also of course give the video a thumbs up if you liked the match and the commentary. You can leave me comments in there as well if you want to. Great shout out to, or big shout out here to Team dISSENT and also Team No Limit for the match played, and I'm certainly looking forward to more games from both of those. Have a great day, guys.